Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhagavate Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachanandi Vishesha Shivani Paschachadeshatayane Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhagavate Srimati Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Iti Namane Shri Varshabhana Devi Dayataya Kripabhe Krishna Sambhana Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Vishwa Premada Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Tivatayane Rupa Nuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvaita Harane Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasa Mudhe Padam Vijayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupa Nuga Vilayate Ex Gaura Virbhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajjanapriya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Jagannataya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Pancha Tattva Akam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Sambandha, what is that? Jayatam Surato Pangur Mama Banda Matergatir Matsarasva Padam Bhuja Radha Madhana Rohira Divya Vrinda Kalpa Trivaita Srimad Ratnagara Simhasana Srimad Radha Sri Govinda Deva Vishaliti Sevyamana Smam Srimad Rasa Rasa Rambi Shiva Tatasita Karshan Venu Swanaya Govinata Shriestuna Tapta Kanchana Govangi Radhe Vrindavadeshwari Rishabhalu Sudevi Pranamami Haripriye Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, who's the Jagannath Bhakta who knows the Balarama mantra? That's, there's a special Haladara. Anybody here who knows? Wait, you know?
If you want Pansaratra Pradip,
Okay, well, yeah, if you can find it, but otherwise, there's a nice mantra for Baladev there. If you say it to Jagannath, and then you say it to Balarama, Halandara. If you find it, so let's go on here. So I thought to read today from.
there is one.
Huh? You found it?
Yeah.
What is that?
Namaste, Halagraha.
Yeah.
Namaste. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, say.
Namaste, Musala Yudha. Namaste, Revatikanta. Namaste, Bhaktavatsala. Namaste, Balim Shrestha. Namaste, Dharani Dhara. Pralamba Namaste, Purhi. Mam Krishna Var Purvayi.
Yeah.
Obeisances to you, O holder of the plow.
Plow,
Obeisances to
the plow,
Obeisances to you, O wielder of the mace.
Mace, club.
Yeah. Obeisances to you, O darling of Revati. Obeisances to you.
Revati, that's wife, not mother. That's, mother is Rohini. Rohini, mother, and Revati, consort wife. Yeah.
Obeisances to you, who are very kind to your devotees. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Balarama, the best of the strong and the support of the earth. Obeisances unto you, O enemy of Pralamba, please deliver me, O elder brother of Krishna.
Nice, very nice. Yeah. Krishna Purvaja. They sometimes call Gadagraja also, is that here? Gada, Or, oh, wait a minute, no, maybe I'm making a mistake. Actually, there's Krishna's a younger brother named Gada, right? So Krishna is called Gadagraja, the older brother of Gada. The gopis address him like that. We read, remember? On the train, we read, he's reading 10th canto, Janardhan. And we read that the gopis were addressing Krishna as Gadagraja. So that's the elder brother of Gada. Halagraha, that's the plow. Haladara, Halagraha, the plow. One time he visited Ekachakra, Nityananda birthplace there in Bengal. It's a couple hours from Mayapur with the bus. And it's, at least at that time, I don't know what's going on now, but it was just some years ago, it was a total agricultural landscape, nice temple there, but and then we were just there and they were going on with their agricultural activities. And guys walking around with big plows, big wooden plows, into the field, So, Halagraha and Mushala, Yudha. Yudha means fight, right? I think, Yudhishthir, Yudha. What's the first verse in the Bhagavad Gita? Dharma Kshetra. Yeah, Yuyutsava, I think that's the same etymology, Yudha, Yuyutsava. They come to fight, what are they going to do? Well, guess. And then Revati Kanta, Revati. Right? Has anybody been to the very nice Baldeo temple on the Vrajmano Parikram? I forget what forest it is. It's towards the end, it's like the last week. Dalji, yes, Dalji temple. Yeah. You been there? Yeah. Revati Dalji. Yeah. Baldeo is the name of the town, they sometimes call it. And it's a very nice temple there. I got a lesson there one time. I'll tell you later, maybe. I met this another time we were going around there with the Parikram, and then I just bumped into Smita Krishna Swami. My guru, Shiksha Guru, since I was Bhakta, and I just bumped into him there. So take it as Baladev, Guru, Tattva connection there. And Revati comes to Bhakta Vatsala. Vatsa means calf. So it's kind of like parental here, almost like motherly affection. Bhakta Vatsala. Dharani Dhara, holding up the earth. We're going to read more about that. We're reading about, in the 5th canto, we're going to read now about Ananta at the bottom of the universe, just biding time, trying to control his temper before he gets fed up with us egotists, misusing our, life here. And then he just, okay, we'll get into that. And Balanam, this strength, Shrestha, the best of the strong, and Pralambare, the enemy of Pralamba, Who's Pralamba? Pralamba. Was he the guy with the thing on his head with the gem? No, who's
He was
Pralamba?
that one who disguised himself as a cowboy. They were playing some game. And
Okay. Yeah, and then he took Baladev on his shoulders and he was going to take him away and abuse him. Baladev, finished. Pralambare. Krishna Purvaja. Yeah, Krishna's elder brother. Yeah, Lakshman was, frustrated in Ram Lila because, Ram wouldn't listen to him and retaliate against their opponents and stuff like that. So he decided, I'm tired of being younger brother. Next time I'll be big brother. Namaste Hala Garaya, Namaste Mushal Vibha, Namaste Rivati Kanta, Namaste Bhaktivatsala. Okay, so let's go. Actually, when do we usually end here? 8:30, right?
Yeah,
okay. All right, so we'll be reading now from the 25th chapter here. I thought we would do like we did yesterday, more or less, that we would take turns. Everybody has the paper, I think. Yeah, there's more papers here. You can give out to anyone. And Timo, take a paper, and also here you can pick up I have the book here also. So chapter 25. So let us first offer our obeisances. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So here, let's read first the introduction here. I asked Devarita Swami once who composed these, because he was involved in the production of the Bhagavatam in Los Angeles. And he said it was Prabhupada who wrote them. So that's the answer I got. So in this chapter, so it's chapter 25, right? Now. And in this chapter, Shukadeva Goswami describes Ananta, the source of Lord Shiva. Lord Ananta, whose body is completely spiritual, resides at the root of the planet Patala. By the way, there's the picture of Lord Shiva meditating on Shankarshan, right? There's a expansion of Lord Baladev. Right, first comes Krishna, and then the first expansion is Baladev. And then from Baladev comes Narayan, or is it the Chaturvyuha first?
Chaturvyuha.
Chaturvyuha.
Then Mahanarayana.
And then Mahanarayan.
From Sankarshan, then again.
Another Chaturvyuha. Okay, so it's Krishna, Baladev, then the Chaturvyuha, and then Mahanarayan, then another. Okay, so he always lives in the core of Lord Shiva's heart, and he helps him destroy the universe. Ananta instructs Lord Shiva how to destroy the cosmos, and thus he is sometimes called Tamasi, or one who's in the mode of darkness. He is the original deity of material consciousness, and because he attracts all living entities, he's sometimes known as Shankarshan. Yeah. Also, it's explained in the Krishna book that he was attracted by Yoga Maya from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. So that's also another explanation of the name Shankarshan. The entire material world is situated on the hoods of Lord Shankarshan. From his forehead, he transmits to Lord Shiva the power to destroy this material world. Because Lord Shankarshan is an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, many devotees offer him prayers And in the planetary system of Patala, all the Suras, Asuras, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, and learned sages offer him their respectful obeisances. The Lord talks with them in a sweet voice. His bodily construction is completely spiritual and very, very beautiful. Anyone who hears about him from a proper spiritual man, yeah, very, very beautiful. I have also Sahudra Swami's wonderful Ananta, Lord Ananta song poem, his text here, which if we have time, I actually wanted to do this 2 days, but I don't know if I have time. Let's see. His bodily is very, very beautiful. Anyone who hears about him from a proper spiritual master becomes free from all material conceptions of life. The entire material energy is working according to the plans of Anantadev. Therefore, we should regard him as the root cause of the material creation. There's no end to his strength, and no one can fully describe him, even with countless mouths. Therefore, he is called Ananta, unlimited. Being very merciful toward all living entities, he has exhibited his spiritual body. Shukadev Goswami describes the glories of Anantadev to Maharaj Parikshit in this way.
You want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, but he'd probably be so happy to hear his books and finish. We have to.
25. runo herra Anantan kunnia. Tässä runossa Sukadeva Goswami kuvailee Anantaa, herra Shivan alkulähdettä. Herra Ananta, jonka keho on täydellisen henkinen, asustaa Patala planeetan juurella. Hän elää aina herra Shivan sydämen sisimmässä ja hän auttaa herra Shivaa tuhoamaan maailmankaikkeuden. Ananta antaa herra Shivalle ohjeita siitä, kuinka tuhota kosmos, ja siten häntä kutsutaan toisinaan Tamasiksi, eli siksi, jota hallitsee tietämättömyyden ilmenemismuoto. Hän on aineellisen tietoisuuden alkuperäinen jumaluus, ja koska hän vetää puolensa kaikkia eläviä olentoja, hänet tunnetaan toisinaan Sankar-sanana. Koko aineellinen maailma sijaitsee Sankar-sanan väiden päällä. Otsastaan herra Sankar-sana siirtää herra Shivalle voiman aineellisen maailman tuhoamiseen, koska herra Sankar-sana on jumalun ylimmän persoonallisuuden laajentuma. Monet vaktat uhraavat hänelle rukouksia, ja Patalan planeettajärjestelmässä kaikki surat, asurat, kandarvat, vidyadharat ja oppineet tietäjät osoittavat hänelle kunnioitusta. Hän puhuu heidän kanssaan suloisella äänellä. Hänen ruumiin rakenteensa on täydellisen henkinen ja hyvin kaunis. Jokainen, joka kuulee hänestä oikeanlaiselta henkiseltä mestarilta, vapautuu kaikista aineellisista elämänkäsityksistä. Koko aineellinen energia toimii Anantadevan suunnitelmien mukaisesti. Meidän tulee siksi pitää häntä aineellisen luomuksen alkusyynä. Hänen voimalleen ei ole loppua, ei kukaan voi täydellisesti kuvailla häntä, ei edes lukemattomilla suilla. Häntä kutsutaan sen vuoksi Anantaksi, rajattomaksi. Erittäin armollisena kaikkia eläviä olentoja kohtaan hän on ilmaissut henkisen kehonsa. Sukadeva Goswami kuvailee tällä tavoin Maharaja Parikshitille Anantadevan kunniaa.
Nice. So here we have Borijan Prabhu's very useful overview, detailed overview of the Srimad Bhagavatam, canons 5 to 6. So here, let's read. And then when we come to a verse here, which is in bold, then we can read the shloka also, I thought. Okay, so chapter 25, the glories of Lord Ananta, text 1 to 7. Lord Anantadev, Shankoshan. Text 1, Anantadev, the predominating deity of ignorance and the false ego. So continuing his description of the universe's lowest section, the previous one had been the Bila Svarga, this heavenly, hellish, was subterranean heavenly planets. So now this is continuing here. Shukadev tells Maharaj Parikshit that Lord Anantadev, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also known as Shankarshan, Lord of the mode of ignorance and false ego, lives about 240,000 miles under Patala. Is anybody eager to go to Mayapur and see the Temple of the Vedic Planetarium exhibition about the planetary systems. It was supposed to be next year. Let's see. Krishna, Rocky May. Anantadeva is not himself covered by ignorance, but as Lord Shiva, the deity of Tamagun, worships him. He's sometimes called Tamasi. Bound by the shackles of false ego, conditioned souls live with a concept dictated to them by Lord Shankarshan. That is why. Oh, this is not shloka, actually. This is prose, the Sanskrit. So, okay, I think we'll skip the Sanskrit because we anyway have limited time. But we'll read the translation here. When a conditioned living being thinks, I am, most of the Bhagavatam is in shloka or poetry form, with meter, and, but now certain sections are in prose, there's no meter to it. It's just like writing an essay or something, So this section here, it's a little difficult to read, so we'll skip that. But the translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When a conditioned living being thinks, quote, I am the enjoyer and this world is meant to be enjoyed by me, drushtri drishya yaho, this concept of life is dictated to him by Shankarshan. Thus the mundane conditioned soul thinks himself the Supreme Lord. That's the first verse. Do you know that?
Siis lukeeko Goswami sanoi Maharaja pariksi? Parahin kuningas, noin 384 000 kilometriä Pataluplaneetan alapuolella elää toinen Jumalan ylimmän persoonallisuuden inkarnaatio. Hän on Herra Vishnun Herra Anantana ja Herra Sankarsana tunnettu laajentuma. Hän on aina transcendentaalisessa asemassa, mutta koska häntä palvoo Herra Shiva, Tamogunan eli pimeyden jumaluus, häntä kutsutaan toisinaan Tamasiksi. Herra Ananta on tietämättömyyden aineellista ilmenemismuotoa hallitseva jumaluus, samoin kuin kaikkien ehdollistuneiden sielujen väärä minätunne. Kun ehdollistunut elävä olento ajattelee, minä olen nauttija ja tämä maailma on tarkoitettu minun nautittavakseni, Sankarsana sanelee hänelle tämän elämän käsityksen. Siten maailmallinen ehdollistunut sielu pitää itseään korkeimpana Herrana.
Okay, it is word by word.
Sorry. Shall I continue?
Yeah, please. In his word by word.
In his word by word translation of text 1, Srila Prabhupada defines the role of the Lord of false ego as Drashtri Drishyayo Sankarshanam, the drawing together of matter and spirit. In his purport text 1, he then describes the Lord Sankarsana's role in deluding the Maya bodies. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart as Sankarsana, and when a demon thinks himself one with the Supreme Lord, the Lord keeps him in that darkness. Although such a demoniac living entity is only an insignificant part of the Supreme Lord, he forgets his true position and thinks he is the Supreme Lord, because this forgetfulness is created by Sankarsana. He is sometimes called Tamasi.
Yeah, so that was Prabhupada's purport, and now Borijan Prabhu will explain now about Jiva Goswami, Tapadivya.
Okay. In the Bhagavad Sandarbha Anucheda 28, Srila Jiva Goswami refers to this text as he describes Lord Sankarsana's relationship with the mode of ignorance. Quote, although Sankarsana is here described as a form of ignorance, Tamasi, it should be understood that he assists the work of Tamas through his expansion Shiva. Unquote. He then cites Srimad Bhagavatam 5:17-16 as proof that Sankarsana is the source of Shiva and the object of Shiva's worship. In his comment on Srimad Bhagavatam 5:25, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur describes Lord Sankarsana's function in both the bondage and liberation of the jiva. The Lord is called, quote, the Lord is called Sankarsana because he completely draws together the enjoyer and the object of enjoyment. Drashtri Trisya Yoga. This attraction is characterized by the false identity of, quote, I am the enjoyer and this is my object of enjoyment, unquote. The devotees meditate on Sankarsana as the presiding deity of Ahankara in order to become purified of the false conception of I and mine.
Thank you. Yeah. So then text 2 to 3. Any question or comment here, please speak up, otherwise we'll carry on here. Text 2 to 3, Anantadev's power. Anantadev has inconceivable power. This great universe, situated on one of Lord Anantadev's thousands of hoods, appears just like a white mustard seed. It is infinitesimal compared to the hood of Lord Ananta. At the time of devastation, when Lord Ananta desires to destroy the entire creation, he becomes slightly angry. Then from between his two eyebrows appears three-eyed Rudra carrying a trident. This Rudra, who's known as Shankarsana, is it Shankarsana or Shankarsana? They don't have any, there's no long, vowel here, so hard to say. Is the embodiment of the 11 Rudras or incarnation of Lord Shiva. He appears to devastate the entire universe. Janara.
Sukareva Goswami jatkoi. Tämä suuri maailmankaikkeus, joka on Herra Anantadevan tuhansien päistä yhden päällä, vaikuttaa aivan valkealta sinapin siemeneltä. Se on äärettömän pieni verrattuna Herra Anantan päähän. Hävityksen hetkellä, kun Herra Anantadeva haluaa tuhota koko luomuksen, hän suuttuu hieman. Silloin hänen kulmakarvojensa välistä ilmentyy kolmisilmäinen Rudra Atrainta kantaen. Tämä Sankarsanana tunnettu Rudra on 11 Rudran eli Herra Shivan inkarnaatioiden ruumiillistuma. Hän ilmestyy tuhotakseen koko luomuksen.
So that's then in the next section 4 to 5, Anantadev's beauty. Even with his controlled anger and his inconceivable power, traits we may think in the material world make one less attractive or frightening. Lord Anantadev is astoundingly beautiful. Shloka number 4. The pink transcendental toenails of the Lord's lotus feet are exactly like valuable gems polished to a mirror finish. When the unalloyed devotees, Sattvata Rishabhai, and the leaders of the snakes offer their obeisances, Avana Mantaha, to Lord Shankarshan with great devotion, Ekanta Bhakti Yogena, they become very joyful upon seeing their own beautiful faces reflected in the toenails. Their cheeks are decorated with glittering earrings, and the beauty of their faces is extremely pleasing to see. I remember at Amvik, on Prabhupada's lotus feet, there was there were a picture of Prabhupada's lotus feet in glass. And when the kids would come up, they would, see their reflection there. They would sometimes go like this, the girls especially. We would laugh. Okay, so now, yeah.
Herran lootusjalkojen vaaleanpunaiset, läpikuultavat varpaan kynnet ovat aivan kuin arvokkaat jalokivet, jotka on kiilotettu peilimäisiksi. Kun puhtaat baktat ja käärmeiden johtajat osoittavat kunnioitustaan Herra Sankarsanalle erittäin antaumuksellisina, he ilostuvat suuresti nähdessään omat kauniit kasvonsa Herran varpaan kynsiin heijastuneina. Heidän poskiaan koristelevat imantelevat korvakorut ja on suunnattoman miellyttävää nähdä heidän kasvojensa kauneutta.
David's next description of beloved Dave's beauty is surprising. Slogan number 5 here. The Lord Ananta's arms are attractively long, beautifully decorated with bangles, and completely spiritual. They are white, and so they appear like silver columns. When the beautiful princesses of the serpent kings, hoping for the Lord's auspicious blessing, smear his arms with aguru pulp, sandalwood pulp, and kumkum, the touch of his limbs awakens lusty desires within them. Understanding their minds, the Lord looks at the princesses with a merciful smile, and they become bashful, realizing that he knows their desires. Then they smile beautifully and look upon the Lord's lotus face, which is beautiful by reddish eyes, rolling slightly from intoxication, delighted by love for his devotees. Janardan.
Herra Anantan käsivarret ovat puoleensa vetävästi pitkät, rannerenkailla kauniisti koristellut ja täysin henkiset. Ne ovat valkoiset ja siten ne vaikuttavat aivan hopeisilta pylväiltä. Ne käärmeen sinikaiden kauniit prinsessat, jotka toivovat osakseen Herran hyväenteisiä siunauksia, voitelevat hänen käsivarsiaan akuru tahtaalla, santelikuu tahtaalla ja kumkumalla. Hänen jäsentensä kosketus herättää heissä himokkaita toiveita. Prinsessojen mielen ymmärtäen Herra katsastaa heihin armollisesti hymyillen, ja prinsessat ilottuvat käsittäessään, että Herra tuntee heidän toiveensa. Silloin he hymyilevät kauniisti ja katsottavat Herran luotuskasvoihin, joita kaunistavat päihtymyksestä hieman pyörivät kymertävät silmät, joita valaisee hänen rakkautensa pakkoja kohtaan.
Yeah, there's a note here, a back note, an end note, but I forgot to bring them, so it would be interesting. But okay, it's 29 now. Can we finish up this section?
But if you want to continue, we can continue.
Well,
We have normally like 8:30, but it can go up till 9 in case of questions and like that.
unfortunately, Janardan and I, we have to leave today because we're booked. So we'll leave just after the feast. So I don't know. We could actually continue reading for the guests, but this is not really for the guests. For the guests, we should have like a Sunday feast lecture, more basic, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this wouldn't be suitable. Okay, we'll go a little bit more. Gyan, can you carry on here in the Bhagavad Gita 16:21?
In the Bhagavad Gita 16:21, Krishna condemns lust as one of the gateways to hell. Common gross lust is born of the mode of passion and ignorance and is a self-serving reflection of a transcendentally pure spiritual exchange. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.25.1 certifies that Lord Ananta, as an expansion of Lord Vishnu, is transcendental to the false ego, the birthplace of lust. Is it possible for the Lord of the false ego to be captivated by what he dominates and controls? Here in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.25.5, Shukadeva Goswami is not describing an intoxicated, lusty person bound by the lower modes of material nature. Rather, he injects into our consciousness the concept of a lover and his beloveds exchanging real love, free from the influence of the material mode. Knowing that there is such a thing as supramundane exchange is essential for us to be able to understand the mysterious dealings between Krishna and his beloved gopis, which Shukadeva Goswami will introduce in Canto 10.
Yeah, it's important that people understand that it matters what they decide to do with their sexuality, because it's very much influences their mission in life to understand that they're a servant of God, who's the source of all sexuality. Super mundane. How does Borijan put it? Yeah, super mundane exchange. There is such a thing as super mundane exchange. Mm-hmm. Sexuality isn't just, the evolution from the monkeys, you know, and lust is all there is, like the demons say in the 16th chapter. But as Krishna describes the demons saying in the 16th chapter of the Gita, but actually the sex, it's janmad yasyaya taha, and how we use or misuse our sexuality is the, you know, sine qua non, you know, it's the essence of our ability to use our independence properly. So people have to understand that. There's, like my students I'm teaching in the high school there in Aparanda, and this coming week they have several days of HQBT, you know, talks there for, you know, I think they start already with the lower, you know, the middle school, you know, the 6th, you know, the 5 to 8th graders, 5 to 7th graders, and then they have another day for the 7th and 9th graders, and they have another day for our high school students. So, you know, they're talking about all this, you know, gender, you know, from their politically correct point of view, but they're missing this point that, you know, there's such a thing as a super mundane exchange. If we could only help them get a feeling for that, then that would be tremendously beneficial for their efforts to use their independence correctly. So that was Borijan. Now he'll quote Prabhupada. Gyan, carry on in his purport.
In his purport to text 5, Srila Prabhupada cites Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The word Adi means Adi Ras, the original lusty feeling which is born from the Supreme. However, spiritual lust and material lust are as completely different as gold and iron. Only one who is very highly elevated in spiritual realization can understand the lusty feelings exchanged between Radha and Krishna, or between Krishna and the damsels of Radha. Therefore, unless one is very experienced and advanced in spiritual realization, he is forbidden to discuss the lusty feelings of Krishna and the gopis. However, if one is a sincere and pure devotee, the material lust in his heart is completely vanquished as he discusses the lusty feelings between the gopis and Krishna, and he makes quick progress in spiritual life.
Right. You know that verse there from Shukadeva in the 10th canto about Bhava Roga, right? You know, the disease in the heart. You know, that actually becomes cured if one hears properly. But, you know, you have to be very careful. You know, you have to be ready to hear. You have to be sure you're hearing from the right person. Otherwise, you know, later. But the same quote from Vishwanath, you know, about Adi Ras, that was, you remember reading at the end of the first verse in the Adi Leela, it's mentioned there. And there Prabhupada says that actually because the Mayavadis emphasize so much that there is no person, that's their whole, you know, thing. So therefore the people become mad after this perverted Adira, you know, perverted ras, the perverted reflection of Adiras. People become mad after, you know, sexuality because, and it's Prabhupada there attributes it because the Mayavadis have divested people of their ability to understand about the supra-mundane exchange. Okay, so shall we say that, you know, now that we have, you know, let's say now it's 7:35, maybe we stop here. I'm very fond of Sahitra Swami's Ananta. I really love this. But maybe, you know, I have about 15 copies. Maybe we could distribute it to the guests. And, you know, I can give like a basic understanding of, you know, not your body and everything on the basis of that.
That sounds good.
It's a very nice poem, you know, and it's like this chapter here in summary.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know if you'd like to play it also, but that would be fun. It's kind of, rocking, it starts off slow, and then it gets, he starts, Ananta Sheshnaga, the Supreme Lord appears like this, the Supreme Lord, it's like, this song. I can't even, I don't know if you want them to hear it, but we do, it would be, it's kind of in the mood of Balarama, Balarama is kind of like, Krishna, follows the regulative principles, so to speak, but Maladev, he's independent. Yeah. Krishna.
Explain that Lord Sankarshan is a divine force that defines the initial soul, soul's ego, falsification, spirit is matter, and then many times we hear about how true identification of our true ego.
True implication?
True ego. We hear about true ego,
yeah.
Which is servant of the Lord. So servant of the Lord.
Servant of the Lord. Sorry, I didn't hear what you're saying.
Yes. Did you hear what I heard?
Yeah, I heard the first part, about he binds together.
Yeah. So the question is, as a devotee serves the Lord, he doesn't work on the platform of false ego. He has to work on the platform of the true ego. So how does it that the devotee still bound to material nature if he doesn't work on that platform?
How the devotee is still bound to the material platform if he doesn't work on the platform of being a servant of God.
And the false ego.
If he's not anymore working on the platform of mundane platform, then how is it still bound?
How is he still bound? Well, what comes to mind in this intricate question would be the example of the fan. If you pull out the fan, then the residual electricity will, karmadi nirdahati kinchucha bhakti bhajan, gradually, by bhakti bhajan, little less, and then nothing. But, that's not, we can't be expecting, like the example of the wife, she gets married and she's there, oh, where's the baby? Come on, now I've been married one night now, baby's still not here. But, the example is if she surrenders to her husband, and then it'll come in due course. But it takes some time. We, like it said, if the bhava rogue is annihilated by hearing about these pastimes, the supra-mundane exchange of the rasa lila. But, if we're not feeling comfortable, in the spiritual sense by hearing that, I remember Kirtiraj, what was it? We got the 10th canto, came, and we were at Alvik, on the farm there, the farm, we're kind of like, family and kids and women and everything. We're trying to be devotees, but we're not out on the street doing street sankirtan, where we're, definitely forced to remember that we're not part of, the naked women on all the signs everywhere, Anyway, but the point of it was that we were there on the farm at Kirtiraj temple president. We got the 10th canto, and he opened it up, and there was the picture of Krishna there in the water with the wives. I think it was the queens, and they're, like squirting one another there, and their clothes, the saris are wet and everything, And then he opened it up like that. So, okay, we'll deal with it later. Okay, I hope that's an answer here. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll continue then at 12 o'clock with the What's that? Krishna Dalji Kabaya. What's the first one? Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya. Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya Dalji Kabaya.
Krishna Kanaya
HG Balarama ki jai.
Jai.
His Grace Yogendra Prabhu ki.
Jai.
ISKCON Helsinki ki jai. Gornatai ki jai.